you are in this wonderful technical workshop in Givagi Bhaskar. I would like to welcome our chief guest, Dr. Vinay sir from University. He is a certified Google trainer for online teaching tools. I would like to welcome our principal, who is the bright beginning this program. I would like to welcome Dr. Yuvraj sir, and I would like to welcome the staff members from other colleges. I hope this session is going to be a mind-blowing one. It will be very useful for teaching community. We are in the outset of online teaching, so this session will help you how to do the online teaching, how to use the online tools effectively in teaching. So now I like to invite our principal to felicitate the function. Welcome, sir. Uh, sir, you please.
Thank you, Dr. Abdul. Respected resource person, Dr. Vinay, my dear teaching fraternity, and invited guests. Good morning to one and all person here. The COVID-19 have posed us a great challenge to deliver our service effectively to the student community. Maybe the new normal that is going to emerge in the post-COVID-19 scenario in the coming months of September onwards. Probably we have to face a new set of students. As you all know, all our students have born after 2000. So we call them as Gen Z students. The Gen Z students, they are born with these kind of ICT facilities. Whereas people like me who are in the Gen X, probably we may not have seen at the time of our birth. Maybe only during our graduation or even after during the graduation, only we could able to see all such ICT gadgets. Now we people with from Gen X and Y, we are teaching to Gen Z. There comes a great gap. However good, however great in our teaching, we may not be able to reach them if we don't use the right media. The pedagogical tools of the modern students need to be learned by us. We are good teachers. So the digital pedagogical tools, which we have combined as Digigogy for Gen Z, is going to be handled by Dr. Vinay from Christ University, Bangalore for another 3 days. And I'm sure he is one of the best teachers whom I have seen in my uh, the past career. I have seen a couple of people who great teachers like him using ICT tools with the proficiency with which, the touch with which, the explanatory flavor what he is adding. All such things are really worth appreciating. I have seen him in one of his programs as a participant, and I was so impressed. And we have invited him. He has kindly agreed. Getting a time slot from Dr. Vinay was all the difficult. To that extent, he's busy. That means many people are taking care of his resource. And thanks a lot for accepting our invitation, for giving your valuable inputs for our Nanda teachers. Sir, basically, it is an arts and science college situated in Tamil Nadu. We have about 3,500 students and 150 staff members, and it's a growing institution. As a part of the Nanda Education Institution, ours is maybe about 18, 19 colleges in our group. We have engineering, we have pharmacy, we have nursing, we have Ayurveda, Siddha, and we have two different schools from CBSE stream and other things. It's a big conglomerate which is growing Nanda group, and you are part of this Nanda Arts and Science College, where in which I am heading the college as principal, and Dr. Abdul, our IQAC coordinator, and he is assisted by Dr. Prasad and Dr. Yuvraj in this program. I wholeheartedly welcome the participants. Around 60 participants are there in this program now. I expected around 100 plus. Maybe they'll be joining us. And before handing over the session to Dr. Vinay, I have few words of caution. It's definitely going to be useful session. Whether you like it or not, the scenario that is going to emerge in the coming days, definitely we have to use these kind of tools. Probably in our concept, whenever we think in terms of ICT presentation, we thought only PowerPoint. I'm sure even in PowerPoint, I may not know very many things. how to integrate my voice, how to make auto movement, so many things, so many new things have been added by Microsoft or Google, whatever the developer who's behind it. They are also innovating, and present tools are very much maybe interactive and making the students more attentive. All our objective of making best teaching learning process can be achieved only through these kind of tools. So make effective use, not only this 1.5 hour per day with Dr. Vinay, probably after that, if you take some more assignments and personal interest, you will be able to learn a few tips, few tools in a stronger way with fundamentals. And definitely Dr. Vinay will devote, and Dr. Vinay sir will accommodate all your doubts on everyday basis and ensure that you are putting more questions, more practical questions, applicable questions, on application oriented questions in the days to come. End of the session, even after the next day also you'll be able to do that. And he is a pragmatic and practical man. He'll down to earth practical. That's what I have seen him. I wish this Digigogy for Gen Z should be more useful, more fruitful. It should bear its fruition. Over to Dr. Vinay. Wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank
Now,
you.
I would like to invite Dr. Yuvraj sir to introduce our chief guest, Dr. Vinay sir. Yuvraj sir, please. Yuvraj sir. Yuvraj sir, are you there?
அப்துல் சார் உங்க வாய்ஸ் கொஞ்சம் சத்தமா வேணும் சார், கம்மியா இருக்கு சார்.
யாரு சார்? யுவராஜ் சார் தான் என்னவா?
யுவராஜ் சார் வாய்ஸ் கேட்கவே இல்லை சார், உங்க வாய்ஸ் ரொம்ப கம்மியா இருக்கு சார்.
யுவராஜ் சார், yeah, you can introduce our chief guest, please.
Yes, respected Chief Dr. Vinay from Christ University, Bangalore, respected Principal Sir, respected IQC Coordinator, and Convener Dr. Prasad, and all my dear faculty members and guests. Convey my thanks to the team for giving me this opportunity to introduce the Chief Guest, Dr. Vinay. Christ University, he completed his doctoral degree in JJD University, Rajasthan in the year of 2019. His teaching experience is around 15 years. He is the head of LMS in Christ University and also coordinator for online training. He is training about 21,000 plus students and 850 plus professors in 3 campuses. He is a consultant of EduTech. Moreover, he has received many awards like Google Certified Trainer, Official Resource Person, Microsoft Faculty Award in the year of 2013, Nobel Researcher Award in the year of 2018, and his area of coverage comes under computer science, information technology, gamification, educational technology, multimedia, web technology, digital learning, IoT, AR and UR, and semantic web. We have done major project on the topic impact of ICT in teaching learning process of higher education 2000 in the year of 2017. He is a Google certified educate trainer. He is also in the expert in the market of digital marketing. He is a certified Microsoft innovative educator. He is Google Cloud certified in G Suite. He is a certified author of book creator. Then he have given more than 40 talks, innovative talks to the teaching faculty and for the student community. He have been acted as a chief guest for guest lectures in various colleges. He have conducted more than 100 workshops in different fields of computer science. Then he have published 60 articles in national journals and 9 articles in international journals. He have 2 patent rights as well as he have authored 1 book. This is about the brief introduction of our chief guest, I believe that Dr. Vinay will have a lively session. He will take into the real position of IT field. That is how to use technologies, how to use technology in teaching learning. And we may also be familiar and we may also handle the classes by using IC technology without any fear or without any hesitation. I also welcome you, sir. I also welcome all the team members and our principal, sir. I once again thank for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Uraj sir. Now I would like to invite Dr. Vinay sir. Vinay sir, please. I would like to hand over the session to Dr. Vinay sir. Vinay sir, please.
Thank you. Thank you everyone for principal sir to introduction and then welcoming and then giving a platform for me to give us little bit of glimpse of technology and other details over here. Before I start, just ensure that my audio is clear and my presentation screen is visible. Anytime you feel my audio is not clear and you're not able to hear up and down, this is the technology. India is not ready for at the time in last 3 months only we are upgrading ourselves with all these things. Suddenly it is very difficult for us. We know that. Keeping that in mind, in case if you are not able to hear my audio, there is a button in the Google Meet called as CC. If those who are in the computer systems can see the button on the bottom, those who are in the mobile phone can also see an option called as turn on captions. If you switch on that, all my audio will be converted into a text format, just like a subtitle in your movie. When my presentation is happening, my audio will come below my presentation in an English text format. So that if you are not hearing also, you can understand what exactly I'm telling will come as a subtitle to my presentation. Please utilize it because up and down is there. I am using a broadband with 200 Mbps, but still sometimes up and down is there. Always fluctuations are there from because of the mobile phone we use it. So keep that. At any point of time you feel any questions, you can keep it for end as well as at any point of time you put it in chat window. I'm able to see the chat window as well as my presentation so that I can do it together. Requesting only an active participation so that it will be easy and it works. The moment when I ask you to replay something, use a chat window and replay. That's always good. Any point of time you feel that you want to ask a question by unmuting, that is also welcome and you can do it. Because this is always for a part of learning and as a teaching community, we have to learn. The time you are spending here is for learning purpose. That's the only intention why we are keeping this purpose. Okay. Now, first thing first, what is the purpose of today's 1.5 hour you are spending over here is, as we know that the magic cannot happen in a 1 hour, magic cannot happen in a minute. The flipping cannot happen from our regular mode of teaching to an online mode of teaching is not easy. Keeping that in mind, so every day three things I will try to cover up. At least 10 things you will be able to find out yourself in 3 days. First thing is important because these technology things, how it integrated into our classroom, we need to. It is not a theoretical part, but still I feel that this is very important for all of us to understand that what points we are supposed to know it, because many of us are using a Google Meet, WebEx, or Zoom, so many things, but we don't know what the tool is. And we are using, so somebody told me some tool in some other webinar, some other workshop, someone told me, someone in an online webinar we attended, one tool, they said that's why I'm using it. We don't know what is the purpose of the tool or why it is required without knowing we are trying to use it. So that should be very clear. That's the part one. Second is, as and when we are entering into this digital world, it is very much necessary that it should be a digital safety and ethics for all three. 1, for a teacher, 2, for a students, 3, for a parents. All 3 of us should be very clear in online world, what are we going to do with it. Don't jump into an online world and then doing everything is not an instant job. We know that one click of a button, Google Meet will start, but still what is necessary and important will be covered on that part. Third, which is more important, to begin with 2 categories where synchronous and asynchronous tools which are required for us, we will begin with that. But there are a lot more. This is just the beginning, maybe a trailer for our workshop, or maybe the first foundational step for our work, which can be done. Then later in the day 2 and day 3, we will try to see one by one each in depth of each tool, which can be useful. First is first, you should be very clear. As already I'm telling you that this is not going to be a magic show, and magic cannot happen with just only the tools. What is more necessary for us is it is to be more clear when it comes to the part of subject we are trying to deliver it. Be very clear, irrespective of which subject you teach, whether it is an art subject or a commerce subject or a science subject or a biology or a accounts or even a history or psychology, sociology, whichever subject it may be, you should be very good at your subject without tools. Sir, somebody told me that you use a PowerPoint, everything will be easy. PowerPoint will become easy only when you know your subject, not PowerPoint. PowerPoint, you don't need to know about PowerPoint, but if it will be very good to use PowerPoint when you know your subject. Why? Because I know in my subject what is the topic should be covered, how, which will be the picture will be good for my work, which video will be good for me, only I know. So that's why as a teacher, first part is know your subject very well. Without that, don't jump into technology. The technology cannot replace you. It cannot work with any of those modes. Only is when you know it, we can do it. So we should become first as real good teachers with the art and craft of teaching. See, as you know that there are thousand millions of people are there in the world as a teachers, but remaining all others cannot be a teacher. Teacher is only one who knows their subject very well and who knows the art and craft of teaching to someone else is the best teacher. With our ethical commitment for the role what we are we doing it, then only we become a teachers. So be first with this. Keep my all presentation, my workshop, my demonstrations, my tools, what I'm going to show you, keep it side. But first become a real good teacher with your own knowledge of subjects. Then jump into this. It definitely works. Now, sir, what is good in teaching then? What are we supposed to do it? In case I know the tools are in the last 3 months, we have attended many webinars, many workshops, or maybe someone told me, but I know some tools are now. Is it okay to do it? That's why specifically I've written here, knowing that way I have 200 of tools which are there in even Google. If you go and type it, you will get it. But knowing that latest tools is not the only. You should know which tool will work on which place for which subject, which will make a sense for my students is the one which you should know. That means as a teacher, when will be the Google Classroom will be useful? When will be the Flipit will be useful for me? When will be the Google Slides will be useful for me? When is the audio recording will work? When is the Screencastify will useful? Should I use it or should I ask my students to use it? Who will decide that? That should be clear for us. So note that these are all the things which I'm keeping it in the beginning, because you should not say that, oh, tools only I learned it, I did not know when to use it. No. See, look at the sample picture which is shown here. A student is trying to learn about color and shape. We can teach in many methods, but the technology is helpful for them to learn this for a lower level schools or a colleges, where it is an example, but it can be for any other work, practical works or any other thing which can be. Even Indian monuments can be taught like this in a history subject. Even you can make the work like Indian politics, Indian parliaments can be taught in this way. Technology is used. There are objects, physically they are supposed to arrange it in that shape with the color and shape. The technology can give them a help, it can hint them, and it can give support, it can guide them. But they become more proficient, perfect when we use these technological aspects in the basic part of teaching learning. Now, our students who are sitting in our classroom, as I think rightly said, principal said, they are Gen Z. They don't like the way you teach. They like the way they want to learn. It is their perspective. And they want everything what they are looking in a smartphone is on one click of a button, they are getting it. If they don't understand what are you telling, they will go to YouTube and they will search it. So that is the scenario right now. And they ask Google, okay, Google, tell me what is the answer. They are going to get it. So when that much of resources are available for them, you can't just use a blackboard and you can't just use, I will see there are many people who did that literally. When online teaching happened also, the tuitions which their schools have started, putting one board on the backside, start write it on that. Same method they use. I'm not telling it is wrong. It is fine, but for specific subjects, say something like a maths, which they can't write directly. They're not comfortable in writing a screen. It is good. They let them go. For other subjects, when it is possible to do here, I'll show you whiteboards are possible on the screen itself. That can be used when we are trying to do it. So change the methodology, not the subject. Subject is same, but methods in which we would like to involve them in activities and try to work out should be changed with this pattern. There are three kinds of people who sits in your classroom. Sir, suddenly we can't use a tool, right? See, how do you know that you know Google Meet? It's okay. Does your student knows the Google Meet? Don't know. Sir, they know. Blindly, we can't decide whether they know the Google Meet or not. They know the WebEx or not. Suddenly, a teacher sent one link. Please join my classroom in WebEx. They have never heard what do you mean by a WebEx? What do you mean by Google Meet? Now suddenly we know, see, how many of us knew that what is Google Meet? We were using it from last 10 years. We know that it was not in the name of Google Meet. It was called as Hangout. It was available. We did lot of sessions. It was clear for us. For new teachers, whenever we are telling, they never heard about Google Meet. There was till before January, nobody knew there was a Meet available in the that too, of course. And now later only the people understood it is available and it is worthful. There are three kinds of people who sit in our classroom. Who looks at, even now in this session also, there are many people, out of 60, 70 people who are attending this. There are few people, that means maximum number of people who are looking at my slide, what this guy is going to tell me, what this person is going to talk about in a colorful manner in my visual slides. What is the slide is going to tell? That is more useful, attractive for them is 65%. Same in our classroom. Students will look at what are you going to show, how you are going to show, what you are going to present. In 65% of categories are in that one visual mode. Visual is colorful things and explaining is easy. See, the same slide I can explain in a 3 pages, but instead of that one image can give them a more. That's why one single photo can explain 100 words. Similar to that, an animation can do maybe 1,000 words, or maybe the video can make it a 10,000 words can be made in one video. So that is where visual impact is. Second, there are auditory peoples. Auditory peoples, they are kind of people who are listening to you in the classrooms when you are talking. Now also there are people who kept their phone on, they kept their mobile phones on as well as laptop or computers on, and they are not looking at the screen, they are listening. Okay, when he says something good, we will come back and see what is there on the screen. So they are auditory people. They are around less percentage, but comparatively there are, actually this percentage is not correct, it is 30% of auditory. They are listening people. Finally, there are kinesthetic peoples who are around 5%. Actually, sorry, that percentage is interchanged here. Auditory are 30% who listens. How do we know these people? Sir, do we have to observe these people in the classrooms? If it is, I'm going to teach in the classroom, how should I observe this? These people will be observed by teachers only. We have to know them. Say there are people in before the exam, you can observe them. They are listening to their friends. Hey, can you explain me this? And then I will go and attend the exam. The one who is listening will listen from more than 5 people, and then he goes and attends, he gets more score than the one who is explaining. So this is the reality. One who looks at some pictures and diagrams and go and writes the exam, with one diagram he can write 3 pages. He has understood the image in such a way, visually it is fine. This third category of people who are called as kinesthetic people, they are around less percentage, 5% in the classroom, but they are not looking at your screen, they are not listening to you, but they want something to be done. An activity should be done by them. By practicing, they will learn. So kinds of people in our classrooms are different. What are we doing till today? We prepare ourselves. 1 hour today, 2 hours today, I prepared. So because I prepared, you have to listen. That's the concept what we follow, which is not good. Where the student mindset, never we looked out whether everybody is understanding or not. We just ask one question. Understood? Okay, everybody will keep quiet. We feel that, okay, they have understood and we come. When we test them, all may not have gone to the level of understanding this. That's where the small change happens. So first is knowing our students is required. Sir, what tool should we use for those? Is there any tool or digital technology which can be? Yes, of course, that these specific tools I will show you on demonstration of tomorrow, but other tools are there for today. That's why we'll go ahead. Then we will be able to know that why these people are more into this. This is what is happening in the world right now. Whether we like it, whether we don't want, whether we want it, whether we intend to use in this, no, that doesn't matter. But this is what is happening. Every minute, I might have started 5 minutes before, around 22,000 hours of video would have been uploaded by the time I started this presentation. That much is the data which is coming up in an internet. People can search on Google, on YouTube, or any of these social media platforms or an online world. Data or information is available. The moment we don't give them beyond this in our classrooms or engage them in our classroom tools, they will not listen to us. They're always like happy mode, like, okay, fine, they just log in and they will keep quiet. They may not listen to us. That's what exactly happens if we don't follow. So we should get ready and we should prepare for that and we should work towards this. That's what the intention of making this all technology tools. Few words to remember. See, technology is the future of education, which is necessary. Sir, if I don't use, I'm okay with my own tradition method. What is going to happen? You are not going to get any benefit out of it directly, but indirectly it will affect you in this way that the one who uses technology will always be replaced by the one who uses, and we'll be have to slowly move out if we don't use technology in our class. Now, here I'll try to avoid much things. Only my point is to clear 4 points. One, why do we use all this in our classroom is, which was missing in a regular mode. Now it is also more because of this pandemic situation. Active engagement is much required even in online. Participation in groups, we have to teach them, because when they go out of our campus, they have to work together in a group or a member or a community. They have to work. Frequent interactions is required, and we need to give them a feedback, which is very less in our regular class, which we try to do without technologies. And they do some homework and they'll give it back, and then we will correct it. It will take 1 more week for us to do, and by the time he forgets what he has done. And feedback is no use. Instant feedbacks are more important for them. If they write and do the work, we should say it is right or wrong. And you can even connect to the real world experts in your own subjects. We may be okay in our subject, but I would like to call somebody who's very good expert in my subject to give it. That's an instant click of a button. We can call them right now. It's possible to work. That's where it works with. Now, quickly type on your chat window. If everybody types, I'm always happy. If even few people tries to type it on that, I'm okay to collect it. Just type it on chat window. See, are you ready to shift towards an online mode? You can say yes if you're ready. If not, say no. It's fine. We will tell you how you can go ahead with that. Yes, there are many people started answering. See, that's a way which we can do it. And I'll also at the same time try to observe what kind of an interaction I'm trying to do with you. My students are also attending like this. Your students also will be attending a meeting, classrooms like this, and you should have an interaction. You should not keep them idle. So you should keep on answering, asking questions. They should be answering it, so you can interact with them. And randomly, you can even call somebody to unmute and then answer. It's always fine. So, okay, fine. Most of you are saying yes, and you are ready to go ahead with this and work on. What made you to say yes? What did you feel that online teaching is shifting into online means what? You should be ready. Ready means what? Sir, we are okay. I have an internet at my home and I know my subject. That's enough. Readiness, when we check with the report, this is what the result came in. The capacity for accessing the internet is the first part of getting into an online world. Second is you should have a skills and safety culture, which is much more required for us in right now in digital world. Sir, what are the skills then? That's what we are going to discuss. Some of the skills which apart from our regular subjects. See, I don't know arts and commerce subjects. I don't know all science subjects. Maybe few things I know, but how will I discuss them? The tools are more commonly used for most of the subject is useful, becomes a skill one by one. How to set up a calendar, how to call for a meeting, how to make students involved in this is a step-by-step process. That is one. Then safety is also important. Somebody shares something else. You would have heard some word called as Zoom bombing. Long back in the month of March and April, when people started, they did not even realize that what tool they're going to use. They just started with Zoom tools, which was free. And most of us also would have done it. But later they realized that anybody can enter into that. Security issues was there at all. And somebody out of my class also can come in. Just like last bench students, a lot of troubling started. Skills we were not ready with the safety part at all is also important. And we should prepare our students for that, which we never did it. And then cultural acceptance, somebody's home and they don't want to show it. Say in a small room we are sitting and I don't want to show my video. Students don't like to do that at all. Be able to accept that. And you can't ask them to always get ready with a shift and sit in my class. Is also a part of readiness. And you should be able to support them because how do you support your students when we shift online? It is you who knows the tools and technologies to support your students by helping them that this is how it works. How will you help? Only when you know it, right? That's why we are making you to know all those things, then you can do it. When it was asked, 48% of the people said they're okay with only old method, which is traditional teaching only, they're happy. But 52%, including youngsters, said they're okay with the online digital mark. And comparatively, we are on 12th rank out of 100 in the readiness program. That means we are a quite good number now, and we are okay. We know this is what it should be, but how we have to supposed to do, we were missing on those parts. Now, theory, fine, sir, all is okay. This everybody would have told, everybody would have heard in many sessions, online, other cases at all. What are we supposed to do now, sir? Tell us, sir. This is, I know you are waiting for all this. Sir, tell us what to do now. What is the step should be followed? What is my first step to do it? And that's way it should work out. There are few steps, do and don'ts, and that you need to follow first, and then become ready for your online journey. It will always help us to do this work. That's why I pointed one by one. I'll go through this. You could even observe on my slides on the left side bottom, I'll start writing 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers that will give you a glimpse of what we are trying to, tools way, which we are trying to cover up. First thing, whenever I show you or whenever somebody else, not only for my presentation I'm talking, but start from my presentation point of view, be a good observer. What kind of tools I'm using it? what kind of a technologies I'm trying to use this. Can anyone guess that what I'm using for a presentation now? See here, there is no PowerPoint opened here. I'm using a browser window. There is nowhere that there is no tool, nothing is there at all. I'm making it full screen and I'm trying to present it. Can somebody tell me that what I'm trying to use it for presentation? I am able to see a chat window. I'm able to present it. I'm able to even play sound. Everything works in this. That is where your observation starts. You have to know that, sir, we also did, sir. Whenever most of the cases when people start using a PowerPoint presentations, either they can see only their full screen or they can see the chat window. Both is very difficult for them to manage. That is what you should have. I will teach you definitely how it can be done, but try to know, observe it. Write down. If there's a question, please write down for all today's at the end of today, or maybe at the beginning of today, or maybe sometime. Anyway, next 2 more days we have time. Every question will be answered. Please do mark it. If you don't know how to do that part, that's where your observation starts. What kind of a tools I'm using it? What kind of a technologies I'm adopting it? Not only here, any webinar you go, it is not just for the knowledge of that subject. Other things also. Somebody is doing a YouTube live. Sir, how to do that? Sir, it is too much technical. There are 2 clicks, you can do a complete live is possible. You can work in that format. That's how it works. You should be more creative enough to do this. Your college definitely will not restrict you to do on creative works in your classrooms. Always they welcome and they're happy with that you do something good with your students. At the end of finally benefit to a student is important. Be creative and learn something new. Multiple methods are there to learn it. Learn new things, which is a good idea. We would have used last 3 months. If you have used it, very good. If not, still time is there, you can do, because it's not a full-time class. We are going to do it sometime, at least an hour in a day we will get to learn something new, or weekly 1 hour you spend also, it's fine to learn something. When you learn, please don't keep it with you, share it with someone and other people, so that they will also be able to learn and do something more. And all the tools which you are going to learn now, do not experiment with your students directly. Please keep this in mind very clearly. Should not experiment all the tools and technologies what you are going to learn here directly into the student's mind next day morning. Then why are we learning, sir? Then of course you are learning to do that only, but before you go to the student phase, do it yourself. That is why it's always called DIY. Do it yourself first and then go to the student. Sir, why it is more important to do it with yourself? Because sometimes technical glitches might happen. Students will laugh at us. Oh, this faculty doesn't know anything. They're trying to experiment with us. They will do more better than us. You know the Gen Z people now. They know much better the mobile operations and the online operations than us. They have attended more things. So we also should get prepared. So what you should do is do it with your colleagues, your friends who are there in your own department, in your own class, in your own level. Try to do with your own chit chat with an online mode. Come online and discuss. That's okay, fine. It's the same tools which we're trying to experiment. Once you're familiar, what happens with on and off, what happens with these buttons, then you go into the student. Because all tools are not in the same format. It will take some time to understand them. I am telling this part is required. Now, what is first now? First is with the tools technologies which are supposed to be started is, that's why you could see the slide number 1, which says number 1, which is before we start all other things, apart from your observation and other things. Okay. Now we need to prepare our students. Have you told your student that we are going to online? Okay, ready, come down, join the meeting at all, and then we are going to start a class. Think about student mindset. Are they ready? Do they know that what they're supposed to do it, what they're not supposed to do it? And do we know that what's supposed to share it with them and how secure I am? See, earlier in our classrooms, we are not allowing our mobile phones by our students. Students would not bring mobile phones into classroom. Okay, fine. We are happily teaching. Now, how can you avoid? We are all telling everyone that please use your phone, please use your laptop, please use your technologies, do everything we are telling them. In that scenario, when you are even talking here, without your concern, without your permission, students are recording your video. It may go anywhere, any place across the world is possible. They'll take photos. It did happen. See, even before the classes, when we started around March, when we introduced ourselves to the students, that future may come with, we started training them and telling them or helping them. See, this is how the online class looks like. We might start in the month of May, we will start. So March, you get ready. March itself, we made them. You won't believe, March itself, they started taking photos. They put it on social media. Everything. See, preparation is not there in mind. They don't know. We have to do that. That is very clear. How many of you are confident enough to handle online class? Because 5 things come to mind for online classes: subject, my own PowerPoint representation slides, other part required technology tool, internet, and presentation skill. All this comes together will make me not confident. If I'm confident, then I'm definitely able to go ahead and then where I'm presenting, which tool is working. Something goes wrong. Someone's mic is on. Can you please mute so that others can hear us? Just check. It will disturb others not to hear. Please mute your mics.
Ma'am, Ramya ma'am, mute your mic, ma'am. Kindly mute your mic.
Ramya Tennarasu, ma'am.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Now, teacher should get a confident enough to handle all these things. Suddenly assume that when we are presenting it like this in a classroom, internet goes off, system goes off. Tools am I prepared, sir? I know everything. But suddenly when it goes off, see, you should know how to go back as well. That is what also a skill. That is where we point out skills are important for us to do it. First, before we even turn out with this, first skill what I want our teachers to have is have a good, safe, confident explorers of these online world, which is very, very, very important. Then only you can go into an online. Otherwise, any tool anybody teaches you, there is no point in doing that. First job is to get into this. Now, what we expect you to be 5 things. As an online explorer, you should know 5 things on this. One is smart. You should become more smarter now. If sir, we are already smart, sir. We are youngsters. We know how to handle our class, but you should be much more smarter now. Alert, and you should be know that when to handle, what to handle. Strong enough. I'll tell you why it is required as well. And kindness is what is missing in an online world right now. And we are more into a selfie mode than helping somebody else. That's where kindness, which we want, and our students should learn on this part. Finally, we should be brave enough if something goes wrong to point out. There are many teachers who don't even report if something goes wrong in the online class. They don't even open up their mouth. Some student comes, disturbs somewhere, and something happens, they'll try to avoid and close it off. The moment you do that, it will continue more and more, but it will never stop. You should speak out and tell, sir, this has happened to your higher authority or your class, maybe coordinator or your HOD, somewhere. Have a discussion. Be open-minded to discuss it. That is where the braveness comes. Fine, I did a mistake. I have done it, and this is what happened. And tell me, how can I solve it? Otherwise, it will not go to be worthful at all. This is a part of digital safety, and citizenship is more important for every one of us to know and learn one by one. With what point you should remember. Being in an internet is a smart way is very much required. You should be very clear with what to share, what not to share. There are many cases we share our screens, and a lot of things in our screen is also there. And some people will share even their email when they're opening and they're trying to. It becomes more easy for the hackers. Students will be keep on waiting for this to take print screen and photos and then do it. Now it is much easier, right? Phone there, one click screen will come, and laptop one button print screen will come. So better to very clear that, be in advance. Prepare 10 minutes before you see what you are going to show, and then get prepared for that. Same teach to your students. When they present it back, they also should know what is required, how it can be done with this is very, very important. Second, we should be alert in an internet, and all these points are applicable to us parents. Right? As a parent, you should learn. As a teacher, you should learn. As a student, you should teach the student. Is very important. Don't fall for any fake. For example, see, there are a lot of messages comes to your WhatsApp. Send this to 10 more people, your battery will increase. Send this to 5 more people, your green color WhatsApp will change into red color. Send this to somebody, there is a discount of 200 rupees coupon will be available. Send this to one more person, or click here to get a UPI, what is it? Google Pay account of 100 rupees will be credited to you. Paytm will give you 500 rupees. 100 things will come on every day. We know it is a fake. But you won't believe, even there are 30 to 40% of people will just want to check the click and check. Let me check what happens. The moment you click there, over. All your data is already gone, and then everything they can take it. And later you'll realize, oh, my money is gone. So it is not just part of only money, but it is also part of an assignment. One student who did this also in an online class, in the name of a teacher, he sent an email to everyone and to submit an assignment. All of them submitted an assignment to that email, and he took that email copy of assignment and he submitted the copy from everyone, and he did that. So this is what is happening in the world. The moment we feel that nothing, we don't know the other part of the world, of an online world. So that way we are telling you that these are all possible, but we should not give an option for all this. That's how it should work on. Next is where keeping your secrets, password, everything. And when you're sharing online, you will type a lot of things. You will do a lot of works on screen, and that will be visible to many of the peoples. and as well as not only in the class, in many cases on mobile, other things, sharing, caring, everything works. Internet purpose, you should be strong enough. Do not share your OTP, passwords, your online screens with anybody else unless it is required. And even if you want to share it, with carefully share it. That's what keeping your secret is important. Students also should do that. They should not share it with someone else. Tomorrow they can't blame. Oh, I gave it to my friend, sir. He did this. I don't know. Don't believe there are profile uploading also when they did it in online class. Somebody uploaded somebody's photo, hero photo, heroine photo, they'll do it, which is not good. And they claim that, sir, it is not me. That cannot happen in online. Unless you don't give your password, it will not work. Be kind enough, help people who wants to have it, and share the positive things, not to only that good morning, good afternoon, good night messages on the WhatsApp. Beyond that, there are good things which can be shared by faculty members to the community of our own, teachers to teachers, or for a family group. Many things are there. I'm not telling it is wrong to do it, but every day at least our 4 lakh servers, not 1 or 2, 4 lakh servers are filled because of Indian good morning messages in a WhatsApp. That's a situation outside, but we can do that in a better way, sharing something good, which is always good. There are some people who send positive messages. There are some people who do that at all, and they help more people when it is required. Do it. Not you don't need to go and help all the whole world right away. We know that the situation, but you need to be good enough to help. Last but not the least, which is very good required, is when in doubt, when you have a doubt, please talk it out. As a teacher, you don't know something to do it, please open up and ask, which is you make yourself a list and ask the people who knows it, which is required. Before your real journey starts in an internet world, these 5 things should be really go inside your mind, and you should be ready enough to handle it. Now, tell me, how can we teach this to our students? For you, it's okay because you are listening in the early morning to my session. So I have to tell, I will told, and you have to listen, you have listened. But imagine you have to pass this to your students. How will it be? So assume that your class is at 2 o'clock, and then you are going to start at 2 o'clock in the afternoon after the lunch hour. Will they listen to us? May not be, because their mind, that's why you have to teach them that they want the way in which they want it, not the way we want. I know, see, I learned it, go and teach them. No, they will not listen. So for that, there is a full-fledged program available. Again, I'm telling you, don't do experiment with students unless you do it. This will be your homework also for today. You have to do this, which will work. There is an online program called as Interland, which is Be Internet Awesome program. How it is, I will show you. Mainly reason is that you should know how to play safe in the internet, how to learn safely in internet, how to stay safe in internet is the major part. For this, a full-fledged program, full-fledged curriculum, syllabus, whatever you need it for, all this is available inside this. It is ready to use. Now, you can take a copy of this. I'll show you. Curriculum is ready. The what and all the presentation, PPT is ready. Books are ready. Pamphlets are ready. Certificates are ready. Everything is ready for us. Just we have to use it in our classroom before we start or prepare. First-year student, especially the next generation which is coming up, we have to ensure that prepare them for this first, and then we should go ahead. How I am preparing you, please do follow the same process with your students. When you are introducing them to the online world, do with this and then introduce them, ask them to do it. Now, what is there inside this? This is exactly available as a part of their full program. It is in a website. The link what I gave you here is the same link which can be used. Later I will share that as well in the chat window, which you can take with that. This is where the program is, and a small video is also. I'll show you that how it works like and ultimately what they've done is we have to teach the way our students starts learning in an online digital world. How they learn, what they like more. They like more games. They like more way of interacting in the computer world. This is exactly the same. I have prepared one good online game for them to learn all these concepts easily. That is what has been given here, and this is what they say it about. It is very important. There are new things has been implemented in this, and each part is explained here. Sir, how do we know that what I'm supposed to do? On top, you could see there are 4 or 5 buttons. Slides, you get a ready-made slide. For educators, what and all required already there inside this, and it will show you. Digital safety resources are fully available. Hold on one second. Then you could see here, play your way to the internet awesome is there. You can see down below, see curriculum in English, coloring book, printable classroom activities, awesome tips, everything. And each one, if you use that, in each one, they have explained step by step what do you mean by smart, what do you mean by all these. See, what do you mean by smart? You should be a positive presence online, just like in real life. You don't need to fake in the online world. There are a lot of things happen. Think before you post. Protect your secrets. Don't assume the people online will see you the way you think you will see you or you see them. No, it is a change. So you should learn that. It's always important to respect people's privacy choice. And if they're not choice, make them yourself. See, a lot of things are there like this, which is useful. You can go through this as and when you get a time. I'm just giving you where it can go and how it can work like. That is what is exactly given on this. There is one small video which shows, if the sound does not come, do not worry, just observe that. This is how, one second. Just play it here only. Sound does not come, don't worry. This is how it will play. This is like a land where each one of them have to go play around with this. You can do it in a laptop or in a mobile phone. You can play it, and you can, as and when you get a time, when you are free, definitely you'll be able to go and then try to. This looks like a game, but inside that, what they are trying to pass the message is more important, which is our students can gain very easily. They like this most. When we introduced our first year student, it was really tremendous experience by them, and this is good, which we are generally we are missing, and we are not doing that. We are not preparing them directly. We are telling them, hey, go ahead, go start online. Everybody come online, come. That will not work. Prepare them so that they will work or attend our classrooms in an easiest way and better options they'll be able to learn. So keep that in mind, what we are supposed to do it, which is your first job which has to be done, which is prepare them for a digital journey. How do we prepare? Follow the step. First, you go ahead, you do it, and you have to work. Now, what is your work will be? See, today till tomorrow morning 8:30, you have a time to go through this website. Link is here. Go through this, and then at least do complete one activity inside this. If you're able to do it, it's very well fine, more than that, but at least one you try to do it. You'll understand how this works. If you don't get it, come back and ask me. I will show it again how it will work. And you just need to play. If you go directly and tell your students, they'll face the problems. The same thing you should face first, and so that you can answer their question if they ask you. You ask me any questions inside this, I'm able to answer because I went through 2-3 times of this and I know how it works. Now, same thing you have to do it. Get ready for your digital journey. That's your first part which has to be done. Then, now we are shifting from one side to another into digital. Sir, is it okay? I know everything is what everybody's mindset is in the teaching community. Because of the digital world and online this, we are feeling that we are okay, we know everything, and we will shift. The flip happened like this, one turn, like a coin flip. Just one flip happened where our direct learning has maybe converted into or flipped into an e-intensive method. This is what the journey in last 20 years, 2 decades or 3 decades of time, if you've seen, our full face-to-face class has reached to an e-intensive method, what we are seeing it today. Sir, is it the one choice? No, actually it has gone into a step-by-step. Something like, first we started with a technology called as a PowerPoint, video, OHP projectors. A lot of things was there when I started teaching at the beginning. And even there is no projectors at all. It's a OHP projectors with general one, is with a transparent sheet we used to write and project it and explain it, those parts. Then slowly it has gone into an electronic format where the PDF files are a PowerPoint handouts and then showing it in a computer system. Then resources sharing started through online, then discussion forum, and then we started. Then we focus on interactive materials which can be made. That's a more part which we are going to look at, where more interactive materials will come. Finally, it is where e-intensives, which is our course delivered, assessed, and moderated in online now. Now, most of us, what are we doing? We have gone through these steps of 50%, maybe the 30 to 40% of the people in a teacher community would have gone through this from last 10, 15, 20 years, from face-to-face, step-by-step into computer and then e-intensive. People think computer is only for computer science people, not for everybody. Now, I think last 3 months would have given a very good example that it is not for computer science people, it is for everybody. So in every field, everywhere, people are using these computers is necessary, and it is a part of basic content. That's where we should go ahead with this and we should learn. So when we are, it is not just the direct jump, it is a step-by-step which was happened. But few of us, maybe few of you also are trying to jump now directly into this, which requires basic concept, which is very clear. Now, 3 perspectives to start tools. A traditional tools are completely online or a blended mode. So traditional, which we have all experienced, and what we were doing it earlier is the traditional mode of going into a classroom and then teach them and then come back is always a traditional mode. Complete online is few of us would have done already without knowing it, but we have done it. No interactions with the regular mode, but in an online mode, we will try to do it. Just go online, start doing like a Google Meet and then try to teach with that. Third one, which is a blended mode, which is what we need to understand, where a combination of both tradition and online is what is required. Now, anyway, tradition cannot be done, but it may be another few months now. I think good news are coming that vaccines are coming up, or few classes might start very soon. Maybe in another 2 or 3 months, we might exactly, maybe by January, at least we will be in a back to school or colleges. In that cases, can I combine these two? Is online only one mode? Inside even online, there is multiple modes are there. How it can be? Why it is blended? Because of few advantages, with which I'll complete the theory so that it will be helpful for you to go ahead and then practice the other parts. Face-to-face is good, but comparatively blended will be more. You need to have interaction. Class is not just to have a class for like this 1 hour and leave you is not good. That's why I gave you one homework. Even beyond the classroom, you should work on something which is important. And then student is happy. Even without me, they are able to experiment something at their own level, trying it, and they're engaging and come back. Definitely it works. There are multiple different styles of students are there. Somebody want to see and learn, somebody want to listen and learn, somebody want to do work and learn. This will definitely help for that in blended modes. So some more advantages are there, which is required, which is part of one. Now, quickly type in the chat window now again for this question number 1. One student who is sitting in a library referring for a multiple books. He is referring one of book 1, 2, 3, and he is making the notes by himself. And he is also checking the internet for good solutions of those examples. For some questions which are there in that he is trying to find the solutions for that. This scenario is an example of which mode of teaching. Is it synchronous mode of teaching? Is it asynchronous of mode teaching? Don't worry which is right or wrong at all. Just try to answer this so that I can see your answers on the chat window so that we will go for it. Somebody said asynchronous, somebody says synchronous. Somebody said, that's okay, don't worry. See, if you don't know, we have to learn it. Then only we can start our class. Both, yeah, somebody said both. Fine. B, somebody saying B, asynchronous, both, synchronous. Fine, good. See, whatever comes to your mind when you look at this scenario, just type it. Then only we will be very clear. If you don't know because assuming and learning is not good, so it's always good. Say around 86 people, at least few responses if it comes. Others who don't want to tell, it's fine. You just write yourself. Which one? Then when we say the answer, you compare yourself that whether it is correct or not. Because the tools which we are going to turn, that's a part 2 or part 3 of our class now. The first was introducing you to the digital world. Second one is to a digital safety. Third one is a part of synchronous and asynchronous tools. So to do this, you should be very clear what I'm trying to talk about. That's why I asked you this question. Good, very good responses from both. Synchronous as well as asynchronous responses are coming up. But you need to understand what is asynchronous, what is synchronous. Scenario based it works. I'm having a session right now. We are having, assume that this is a kind of a class right now, and I'm talking and you are responding back to me, and it is happening in a live mode. Remember the word, it is online, but it is live mode. Whenever the term live comes, it is exactly synchronous mode. Why? When live happens means I should be present as a teacher, you should be present as a students, and not only you, that means any student who should be present as a students. And I have, maybe not only me, both of us have combined and we fixed the time as 8:30 to 10 o'clock is fixed time. Time was already fixed. One. Second part, once the time is fixed, I have the flow. I know what after what I'm supposed to teach. I have planned already, I've kept it. You can't learn what I'm going to teach you. The last slide, you can't learn it first. It's a scenario in a linear format, which I decided. And we are maybe both together we have combined and we have decided that this is the flow it should go on, which is already done as part of synchronous. So synchronous means live. Synchronous means the interaction happens between the student and the faculty in the live mode. And there is a fixed time and a slot and a date is already done. Then it is with the linear flow which goes on with that what after what is fixed, decided, and goes according to the teacher. That is what synchronous is. We should be very clear, because tool what you are going to use will help you in the type of class what you are going to handle. Don't expect that we were teaching 30 hours class in the regular mode, I will teach 30 hours in an online mode. Will never work. I have taken already 35 hours for 3 sections in the last 2 months. My classes are going on, but we can't teach the way we were doing it on that. This is slightly different than what we expect. So prepare for that. Preparation is necessary. Through this part is what we look at. Asynchronous is the rightly other side of this. You can see at this screen, which can be done at this. Okay, I'll come back to that, which can be done on these 2 parts. Synchronous is As I said, it's a live trainer facilitator with other students will always interact. Then learner will be scheduled. The learning part is already scheduled and a fixed start time. Yes, of course, that's correct. It's a linear part. What is asynchronous then, sir? Students, see the term when we use called as online, lot of people will get confused. Sir, online is synchronous, not online is asynchronous. No, asynchronous can be both online and as well as offline. Students learning independently, that means without my interference directly, no live. I'm not going live, but I'm giving him all the instruction set of things which he is supposed to do, it already done, which is independently he does the work. That is in an isolation, potentially in isolation mode. Most of the case right now, they are all sitting there at home, right? They're doing some homework. That is exactly an asynchronous work. And learning is available at any point of time on any device, on any connected work, and how much ever long he wants to go, he can decide and do it. Is where asynchronous mode works. And learning can be a linear or a free form. We are telling him that go through this chapter 1, 2, 3. What is the guarantee that he will go through 1, 2, 3 only? Let him go through chapter 3 first. He wants example first, and then he'll come to demonstration. Then he will come back to the theory part. It is up to him, right? So we are giving a freedom of those kind of learning is exactly asynchronous mode. So this should be very clear in your mind when you start online class. Am I doing a synchronous class or am I doing an asynchronous class? How it will be. Sir, how do we do the practicality of this? Asynchronous will also have an additionally certain steps of evaluation or maybe knowing the values of what has been done, covered or not. If any of you would have done an online courses on MOOCs or Swayam or any other place, you know that asynchronous. They'll give you some assignments, reading materials, and this work. You should do it. Now, right now, I gave you an asynchronous task for you. So by today, you have to play the digital safety, Be Internet Awesome game, and then you should come back with, it will give you even one certificate, you can come back. The task what I'm giving you is asynchronous task, which is playing a Be Internet Awesome. It has got reading material, it has got a game, it has got a quiz, and you have got a certificate. How do I test that you have gone through that? The moment you get a certificate, it ensures that you have done the work. I don't need to do it. It is already done a systematic way and it is available. Without my interference, you are going to do it. Such kind of task, not necessarily with that, any task you assign to them and which they do it will always be workful. That's what exactly looks around and we look for asynchronous task. So it should be very clear now. Synchronous is live, teacher presents, linearly it goes, interaction happens. Asynchronous, teacher need not to be there, but it can be online, it can be offline. You give the job, let him do it without computer also is fine, he can work. That's what should be very clear. There are some few people who said it is both. You should be able to divide yourself that which is synchronous, which is asynchronous very clearly. Now, what tools we are supposed to use for synchronous purpose now? There are many tools. Many tools are available for this at all. You would have seen this. I have used almost all in the last few cases, including now recently when Airtel also has come out with one more, which is a paid one, but that also quality-wise we wanted to check that. Even we checked with that and it is okay. So synchronous tools is live interactions happen between a teacher and a student, which is what the tool required, right? Just like the one which we are having it right now, where Google Meet, we are using it for the purpose of a synchronous tool learning capabilities. Then you have a WebEx, you have Microsoft Teams, you have GeoMeet. I don't know how many of you have explored it. It's in a beta version, but it's not a stable condition is not there in the GeoMeet. It works sometimes, it goes on sometimes, and when we share a screen, it jumps away. But still, they have developed, it's almost look and feel is exactly similar to a Zoom they have done, but it is a GeoMeet software by Reliance. And then you have a big blue button which can be used inside a Moodle. If we have a Moodle softwares inside our campus, then it will be a big blue button is an extension which can be used for, again, for an interaction like a live interaction sessions, or even some people would have tried with YouTube or even Facebook Live. Many are available. Even YouTube Live, I was thinking like, oh, it is a tough job for us. 2 clicks, you can go live, and then you can just with a laptop and a good internet connection is more than enough to go for YouTube Live. That's how it works. So why do we use Google Meet? Why not be the WebEx? Why should we use a Microsoft Teams? Why not this at all? Few features I will show you which can help you to decide what you will be able to work on with this. What this Google Meet gives you as part of Google for Education, this is a part of that. I hope that you have a Google Suite in your campus. If it is not, I request an organizer or the principal or someone to apply for it and get it a Google Suite program.
Sir, our institution is having Google Meet.
Very good. Then it is very good, very much fine, and everybody can start using this in an easiest way. And now maximum of 250 participants are available until September 30th. And Otherwise, it is limited for 100 people. We can use it. Even later, for each class, Google Meet will not be a problem in Google for Education program. Within your own organization, maximum up to 1 lakh people can watch this live using a YouTube live stream possible. You have an option of recording. You have a real-time captions. That's what I said when I'm speaking. It just turns into a languages. Today early morning, that is no, yesterday night, today early morning at 12:30, they have announced a lot of new features into Google Meet. That you are the first one to hear that from me, that there is a lot good news coming from a Google Meet if you start using it. And right now it is around other general common man who doesn't have a Google suite or maybe a Google for Education, still they can use up to 100 participants with 60 minutes limit for them. 24 till September is available for them. 16 people video was there. Now it is increasing into a 46 people video will appear on our screens. Lot of extensions are coming up. Before, I think September and October, between September 15th to October 15th, the following you could see on the right side listed down. These are all the features which are coming up. Now see, we are finding it very difficult to mute all for everyone. Somebody unmutes, it's very difficult for us to have to go individually. Host should go and then mute them is required. Now we are getting another button called as mute all. One click button, everybody will get mute, and I can also control who should present, who should not. It may be more people. At the beginning, you would have seen that somebody want to join a meeting, started presenting, and a lot of things we faced problems. That and all will be removed because of new things are coming. Student can raise their hand. Digital whiteboards are coming. That is a Jamboard software, which we'll discuss. That will come integrated into the Google Meet is coming up now. And you have a custom backgrounds. I can blur the background. I can have my own custom. It is available in all other tools. Is coming into this, and you can log the presentations and chat window. How do you go ahead and work with this? People should be very clear. We know, sir, we are using this already. We would have started working on your institute or college would have already done a lot of conducted a lot of meetings and other parts. This is where you would have started. There are 3 ways to start your meetings. One, you can start from your Gmail itself. If you go to your Gmail, there's a small right side button called as start a meeting, join a meeting. Both are available. You'll be able to go ahead and then join there. No, sir, we don't have that part at all. Then you just type meet.google.com and then you're able to join meeting. You have an option. See, this is general. If it is a common man who's using without a G Suite, this is how it works on. And you can, if somebody has sent you a link, just enter the link over there. That can work out. Or you could enter the code of those what they have signed. Just click on it, join. It works. Or you are starting a new one. Click on new meeting, and it just asks you get a meeting link to share. Start the instant meeting or schedule in a Google Calendar. If you are using a general common one. But what method you should follow, I will tell you. But this is for anybody who doesn't have a Google for Education can do with this. But my concern is that we should use it whenever we are trying to work. Shortcuts are there. One is meet.google.com, or go to a Gmail, you can do it, or just type meet.new. Still it opens one more new meet. Okay, almost ready to go ahead and then start working with this. I will use my official account only. Then it is. I'm not sure if it is logged in or not. Get it to come, but this is how it will come. I need that for you. Run for a second. Okay. Yeah, this is how it comes. See, whatever meetings are scheduled for the day, also you will see 2 p.m. I have another meeting with my scholar. Then I need to know that whether it is already done. All other meetings will also come down here. And then when the time moves, today's meeting all will be displayed here, and it is easy to get that with the proper email ID. Preferably use for all these purposes. Now onwards, what are all tools I show you? Use only your institute email, which is given to you through the Google for Education program. Do not use your personal email. Not a good idea to work with this. Now, how do we schedule for people? That's what most important, right? Sir, okay, Google Meet is ready. We will start using this tool. First is your synchronous way of starting your class is required. Then only all other tools will come and sit above this. Now, for this, how do we send an invitation? How do we call for this? Most cases, what people do is they'll generate like this, join or start a meeting, give a name over here at all. Then maybe video comes or maybe the audio comes. They'll start join, they'll copy the link and they'll start sharing with people, which is what I have to say you that no, which has to be avoided, which is not a good idea. Hold on. Okay, there is a join now. I'm joining another meeting and I'm trying to show you that this is how it looks like. My extra screens are closed. Okay. Now whenever it comes at all, they will get this, and there is an option here as well. You can copy this Google Meet, and then they're trying to copy this and sending it to all students. No, follow simple way. Do not use this method to create your Google Meet and then sending your students to classroom is not good idea, because tracking them, admit everyone is required. That is very tedious job. It is not a good idea. Ask to join and we have to do, and the host has to keep on clicking on all 100 people accept. No, that is not good idea. It's not supposed to be done. Then what should we do, sir? In the Gmail, you will get an option as calendar. You can just open. I will show you how it can be. From your Gmail, you get this box. Okay. Multiple accounts are open in my system, so I will try to avoid that. Okay. Now on the top right side, you get something called as a 9-box window. Dots are there. That window, if you click, you get an option called as calendar. Please use calendar to make yourself completely organized way of starting your classes. First day only you should start this. Otherwise, keep on sending an everyday meeting link and everyday working with this will become tedious job. It is not good idea to work with that. Yeah, your resource person where I'm making it as, I have already scheduled it and it comes. Even though link is there, link is not there, doesn't matter. I know my schedules which has been done for this. So clicking on calendar will open this window where your calendar for your email will work on this. So what is your first job? To schedule something which can work on multiple places. Date, time, you have to fix it and it can work. For example, Saturday morning, I have a class. Assume that maybe around 9 o'clock. This day, I have to schedule it. I'm not showing it in the current day, so that in advance, we can schedule. Click on the time, 15th of Saturday. If it is at 10 o'clock, just click at this time, 9 o'clock, click once. It gives me an option. What is your class name supposed to be? Do like this. Say, class 1 for BA Economics. This is my class. Maybe if you want to specify the subjects, you can specify it as Economics. This is my subject. This is very clear. And every class you give the increasing the number and you use it, it will be easy for you also that how many number of classes you have taken, which class you are going, which class coming up, all fine. The moment you click default is 1 hour. So 9 to 10 is already there. August 15th, it has been taken. If you would like to change, anytime you click here and modify your date and time. Before you do all other jobs, always I prefer just give the name here and click on more options. This is how you should schedule your class for an online work. All other methods are negligible. You neglect it because this works easily. I will tell you with this way. One. Second, add all your students' email into this add guest. Say, for example, I have list. I have not got the list over here. Email list I did not have. 1 second. I have a student list in which if I have an email, I will try to give you how it can be done. Okay. If you have a student list email address, please select all that email. I'm just selecting few. You can select all students and you need to come here in the calendar window, click on add guest, Control V, just paste them, press enter. All your students will appear here. You could see. That's how easy it is to get them into this. That's all you have to do. Remaining all system will take care. Name of the class, date and time, and in the guest place you paste all your students, not name, register number, only email address you paste here. Because email will automatically, when your domain is created with G Suite, they will have the roll number and the email. This is how it will be. Once you have got through this, then you could see on the left side, automatically there is a join with Google Meet link has been generated. If you add a guest, this meet will be generated automatically. So I don't need to do this. Maximum up to 250 participants. It is ready to use and I can work with that. So I don't need to do manually any work for that. Now, next is just 15 minutes before the session, a reminder will come as notification. Why notification? In everybody's mobile, we have the option of getting the content in there as like a WhatsApp notification. Even this meeting notification will also come, class notification will come. Everybody is using Android, is easy for them to get. Sir, I want to send an email. You can do that. Like add notification. There's an option here. Change this to email. 10 minutes before you can send an email, or 30 minutes before you want to send an email. You specify. You don't want to disturb too much. Don't give this. If you want it, you can give. It is possible. Now you can also color it very nicely so that it can look much better. Different colors are there. You can make it pop. That's all your job is. Only give the name, paste the email addresses. You just have a look at this. Is it going? Okay. Suppose along with this class, I want to give some notes here itself, some agenda. Class 1, introduction and history. This is what I'm going to teach. Done. Click on save. You could see here, it asks you, would you like to send an invitation to all these calendar guests? Yes or no? If you click yes or nothing but a send button, an email invitation will go with the name, agenda, and the link for a Google Meet all together in one email to all the students in one shot. You are supposed to send this. Now, if you don't click on send and then you click on don't send, then the email will not. I'm not clicking on send because it will go to my students now. I'm just showing an example. This is how you should do a first schedule of your class. Then only all other things can come. And then it will also show you that all they are external guests from your own domain. If you have created domain wise, then whatever it may be in internal domain or other domains of your own campus, still you click on invite external guests. Then you could see a button. Once you click on send, an invitation has been gone to them, and then the class schedule has been done. Now, how will you join? Most of us will start searching a WhatsApp. Where is that link to join this meeting? Which is very difficult for us. Sometimes it goes on somewhere, messages will be up and down in our own groups. To avoid that, this is the easy method. And this is for every meeting, every kind of an online teaching classrooms. This is the way in which you are to send an invitation. Sir, how do I join as a teacher after tomorrow? Say when Saturday comes morning, Saturday 9 o'clock, how will I join? Open the calendar, click again back on the same event. You will get button called as join with Google Meet. Just click this, it will open the meet. And all the students whom we have sent an invitation will also be able to join this without asking a permission from my side that click to join, add to join is not required. So directly they can come in with my own way of classrooms. So if they accept that, when they get an email, they'll also get an option of attending this. Yes, no, maybe will also come. If they say even yes, there will be an option here. You can see here, there is an option. 17 people I've invited. One said yes, that is me. Remaining 16, I'm waiting. So as and when they say yes, then also it is possible to confirm it. For an event or an organization, conferences, you are doing it, whether they're coming or not, you can find out with RSVPs, whether they're coming is possible with this. So that's how this event works. How to do? Click anywhere, specify the name, copy paste the email address, your link will generate, ready to use, work. One part. Sir, I have this repeatedly on Monday. Same class, same students, already invited. Should I repeat the same thing? See, I have to go back again here. On 17th Monday somewhere around 12 o'clock, I have another class here. I should do again. That is what everybody does. But you can avoid that by doing in an easy way. If you have a repeated class, there are multiple ways to do it. Just click on the same event. On there is a top, there is something called as 3-dot options. See there on top, there is a duplicate. That means copy this and make one more copy of this. Just click duplicate. Because already students are there, already my class name is there, everything. Only I just need to change here. My class number is 2 and date is not 15th. It should be on 7th. That's all. Everything else is ready. Just click save again. It will ask you again to send it. Just send it over. That means the event is also created on Monday. See again, time wise, whenever you wanted it, you can do that part easily with this option of doing it. So it is more options. Sir, again, some more people ask, sir, some more repeatedly, if I'm having a class, you could see here, weekly on Saturday, monthly on 3rd Saturday, annually on August 15th, every weekday, Monday to Friday, you want to have the class at the same time, or you can even have a customs, specify that when and where you have a classes possible. Take some more time to experiment this and then learn so that you can do with this even repeated classes. Otherwise, simple method is to create one, left click with the 3 dots, duplicate and make more number of copies to organize yourself for a first class, which is referred as your organizing class with Google Meet. Do not send a Google Meet link to everybody that you have to join with this is not a good idea. Because if that link is given to anybody else, they will also come and join. How do you know that they are your students? Do not share it. And while sending this invite also, you could see that there is an option here, which I will avoid many times. You could see on the 3rd bottom, bottom line, there are 3 options. Guest permission when I'm inviting. Modify the event. No, I don't want anybody to modify. Invite other. My student cannot invite anybody else because this option is removed. They can't send a copy of this to anybody else. They will not be able to allow. If anybody else is coming to my class, I have to give permission, then only they can do. Can they see all the guests who are all coming to my classroom? All classmates, can they see? Yes, they can see. I have permission. You can see, you can avoid it. If you don't want even this, you can remove this. That is how you should make sure that your Meet is first ready to use with the option. Inside Google Meet as well, I will show you this screen. There are more number which is possible, which can be used in the similar format. As I said, there's a turn on captions. Then there is another option called as 3-dot buttons, where many of you might have not used, called as change layouts. Even now, when you are looking at my screen, you want to see the full screen, just double click on the screen where you're seeing like this. See, you can make it as a full screen so that my presentation is visible completely. And if you don't do that, it will look very small in your mobile and your tab or computers, small. So how do you work with that? There is an option called change layout. There are more layouts are available. You want to see everybody in a tail window, possible. Everybody in a sidebar and then presentation, or only presentation is always good. Choose spotlight. So that anyway, you know that in this event, you have to talk to me and you have to listen to me, then only my presentation and my view is required. Click on spotlight. It works very well. You don't know any of these confusion, just click on auto. It works. I always prefer spotlight so that the presenter's interaction will always, I'll concentrate on that and I can work. You can tell your students, how do they look at you and your class attending with only spotlight is important, which they can start with this and they can work with this. There are on top, there is a chat window as well as people, and then your mic also indicates when you are speaking, it will come with that. Those are all the things we should be clear, explored, and then do it, meet with your own friend or just for a casual talk and then do it. When you start a class with your students, don't start your topic. Start with your preferably casual talk so that you get ready with this Google Meet post. Similar, because this is what you are going to use more now. That's why I gave you more description of this. You would start using it. Any doubt comes at all, list down, come back, then we can discuss. I'll show you that this is how it should be done. It can be worked with this problem. Next, sir, there is a WebEx as well available. Some cases we may need this as well. Sir, I don't like this, or I don't want, cannot be told by any teacher at all. We don't know when many of us would have attended. Quality wise, security wise, they say much better. Even Google Meet is not like that. It is also having a very good security and it is very good options. Together, along with that, WebEx will also give you a very good options of having it, and it is also free. That means anybody can create an account in a WebEx, www.webex.com, and then you create your account with your email address of your institute. Then it will be easy for you. 100 participants can come inside this with HD video, screen sharing, personal room. As long as you like it, it is fine, but it works for 45 minutes. Limit is there for a time. It's actually good only. So we can limit our classroom. Meet means we'll go on doing without any limit, but this has a limit of 45 minutes. You have to properly plan and finish our classrooms within 45 minutes. Works with WebEx. Many of us would have not known that it is free, but it is actually a free, which is available for everyone. As long as you like it, you can use it with 45 minute limit. Only when you need more, you need to go ahead with purchasing. Otherwise, all features are fine. There is no restrictions on any of these, but it only thing concern is it requires little more bandwidth compared to the Google Meet, because Google Meet works in a browser. This requires a software to be downloaded once, and that has to be used, will work. So you should know that there is a tool like this which can be used for synchronous, and it will be useful for you. Then is the case where third one, which is also a Microsoft, which is also right now they are giving it for a free, called as Office 365 package for the schools and education institutions, which you can offer it, and you will get Office 365 fully free for your campus on office.com. You can apply as a IT person or an IQAC person can apply for this for part of getting a Office 365 to your own campus. All students and faculties can use and enjoy the whole part, which is a part of Microsoft Teams, is also part of the same group, and it comes as a small software. And now there is a huge competition between all these things. For which one should be used? I'm not telling you to use all this, or know at least what is available and use the Google Meet for the beginners at the beginning level. Once you become expert, and if you are not happy with that, then only I don't think so it will make us like that. And it's very good, and new options are coming. See, here also they are providing 49 participants. Even Google Meet provides now 48 now. On I think another one more month onwards, it will be a lot good features. Both are at the good. That's where you should look at which can be used, which cannot be used. What now? GeoMeet is also there. This is also a part of that. And you can experiment it. It also requires an app to be downloaded. Similar to Zoom, look and feel, download, button color, everything is also similar. It is fine and it can work with that. And only thing is that it's right now under beta. and not a complete one. Full-fledged is not ready. It may take some in between. Sometime it goes off. That's fine. But still, once it comes, it will be useful for us to work on. That's a part of your synchronous tools, which one of that at least you should be familiar, good enough to start your class. For your asynchronous tools, there are many more tools are available, and I have just listed one which is required here, and remaining there are around 100 to 150 tools are there as per my knowledge which I use, but there are 1,000 tools. Paid, unpaid, which is freemium, premium, which is like open source. So many tools are there for asynchronous. Asynchronous class, as you know, where teachers need not to be live present all the time. He can be present for a beginning and give the assignments or give the work, give the reading materials, provide every options, and then he can go away, but all will be followed by students to go through that. First, for that purpose, always prefer to have one of the LMS at your campus. As it's already clear that you have a Google for Education program at your campus, I always prefer and suggest you that go ahead with the Google Classrooms and use only that, and it will be very good, sufficient for you to work with that in an easiest way with all facilities through that. There are more available. Even Microsoft Team also is an LMS, and Sakai is there, Schoology, Tutor, or even My Course. Many are there, which are some of them are paid, some of them are free. But preferably with one of these two, a Moodle or a Google Classroom, is more. One tool is necessary to have it. Moodle is a free open source software, no programming required. But there is a disadvantage is that individually teacher cannot do anything here. IT administrator or somebody who should be in one person who is in charge has to take care of this LMS, has to install, has to map all the students and the subjects, then teacher can go inside and then take care of that. So student self-enrollment may be difficult, and managing is not by individual. That's the only concern. Remaining all is good options to use it. Sharing any type of file is okay, similar to any other LMSs. You can share all this PDF, doc, Excel, zip is all fine, which you can go ahead with. Then it also allows you to do a quiz, online test, other thing, discussion forum, assignment. What we can do with other tools, which we'll be covering in later. And this is how we tried it. That's one example. Like the Moodle will be useful. A common subject is there by central government or a Supreme Court, which says that every undergraduate program student should learn environmental studies. We can plan. This time we did it with Google Classroom. Before last year we tried with the Moodle, and around 3,500 students are supposed to write this, and we wanted to conduct classes for them and write an exam. Oh, tedious job. Because how do we make teachers are ready for 3,500 people? So we thought, let us do an online, and we made a video transcript and a quiz for each module wise for each topic, and put it in one place and ask the students to go through this and then learn. You can also plan one common subject which is there in your institute or something. The teacher can take initiative and do all content. First, collect all that way subject knowledge, subject content, prepare everything, put it across in one place, and make every student start sharing so that they can learn by themselves. At the end, based on their learning, give a small test, mock test. Once they're okay, give a final test and clear it off. And it made our work very simple. Within 1 week, we were able to do Monday to Saturday, 3,500 people. Full exams were conducted. 1 hour each it was. Very good, easy way of planning. We executed it. Similarly, in individual subjects, if you are looking at, this is how it looks like. Student feels that, oh, this is the subject I want and all content is coming. That is how I should get it, is what he feels. That is what Moodle part is. Now, the part which is more important for you is to know is Google Classroom, which is where most of you would have already started working on, and maybe some of you may be a beginner, some of you are expert in that. And this is a tool which you need to mandatorily look at using for your class. Whether you are using a synchronous or not, but still this will be useful in both cases. Now in the sync mode, async mode, or in online mode, or a regular mode, another 1 month later in a regular classroom, but still like preferable, this should be used by all teachers for connecting, communicating between your students, and well-organized way of keeping your data for class. This is a bundle of Google for Education programs, and it is not only this. There are so many other tools will come. One by one, we will give you a depth of those things, how you can integrate it. This is how a look of your classroom once you start with it. Classroom.google.com, and you log in with your institute email ID, which is given to you, and then you will get. These boxes may not look in your screen. It may be an empty, because first time if you are starting, if you already started with this plus mark on the top, if you click on create, you can create a classroom and you'll be able to do with that. That's a base part which you are supposed to do. Why do we prefer? This was started in 3 classrooms, but now it has gone to almost all countries. It has gone around 40 lakhs people are a part of now Google for Education programs. And that's how, reason is that why you should use this is, you can create and collect your assignments from a student, easy way. There is no download, there is no upload required. Directly in the system itself, in the mobile itself, they'll be able to do it, and full way it is saved in one single place. For my subject, all my students' data is in one place. I don't need to struggle, right? It is work with that way. Improving a communication, you can talk to your students, giving a comment to them, and return back to them saying that this is good, this is not good. See, personally, we also feel that if I name somebody and then tell them that you are doing very well, naming somebody and then connecting them and telling you are not improving, you have to improve like this, this is the way you have to work, that makes a good sense of communicating with our own students. Finally, organizing, maybe in terms of audit team, or maybe the IQSC or NAC or UGC, somebody visits your our university, auditing comes, you should show how well you are organized. Everybody is using this and organizing class in a simplest way in a drive. Anybody wants a report, one click, you can get it from a drive. What are all activities you did for your class? What are all new things happened in your class? How many students came? How many submitted? What is an average class mark? Everything in one single place with stay organized platform. Maybe when it requires, maybe I'll show you the demo as well. That is how it should be done. This is a last 1 minute video which just shows you and explains you a part of which can be given. 1 second, hold on. Google Classroom 101 2021. Give me one small video. If it does not place a audio, don't worry, it is just for a 30-40 seconds video. And I try to keep it downloaded, but that's a new one, updated one. With an ad. Just hold on. I want just 1 minute. This is what ultimately required for us, which is more time for us to teach, more time for us to learn. And when we teach them, the student has to learn it in a better format. Now, why I showed you this video is because it's in 90 seconds. It covers exactly what we can cover in 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hour, 1 day workshop for a Google Classroom is shown in one simple way. I know this may not be good enough for you to understand, but still we'll go ahead. But I will give you that glimpse. Before I go in depth of this, I need other tools to be learned by you. That's why I did it. Maybe another last minute where you can just go through this link where you can learn it. I curated all that step by step, how to create classroom, how to create an assignment, how to add a students, how to make them giving a similarity report. I will show that, but still this can be used for a playlist which will help you to go through that part in an easiest way. Trying is classroom.google.com. You start know more about this in a google.com/edu/classrooms, and 2-3 new features have been announced today morning, early morning, and a lot of things are coming up into this which will be useful for us as a teacher communities. Microsoft Teams already discussed, and every resource what I discussed today is available in this link. Okay, I will just give you 1 second link in the chat window. For your kind informations, you can use this. Yeah. I have just given you this link, which gives you entire resources of whatever I used, be internet or some technology things, or VR, virtual reality in a classroom required at all, or maybe other things, or the Google apps which are required at all, Moodle, or maybe which website we should refer, Google Classroom, where is the YouTube videos for this? All I placed it in one single place. I made it as a Wakelet link, which will help you to understand all in a curated format. I give it. Just go through that and get into that, so that once you don't have to miss it. Don't worry about PPT is not given. Everything is there already in that link in a different format. I kept it so that it will help you to reading purpose. It will be easy. One, try to finish or try to do at least open and see that what a digital safety is your part required by today's assignment for you to do, or a kind of work for you to do it. Once you finish it, then we will go ahead with that and we'll start with tomorrow's work. 3 things you should keep in mind, take away from this. I know I'm taking exceeding 1 minute time, but still I would like to give you this. Technology is the future. You have to get ready, learn something new is important. Digital safety before jumping into the world of online world, ethics are very important for us. Third is there are few synchronous as well as asynchronous tools. Both are important for our teaching purpose. Both we can curate and start our journey with which tool, which place, which can be used. Before we go in depth of a Google Classroom itself, we need a lot of other tools also which will help you to go through, and that is required. That is what we cover up. More other tools are now, because all theory is over now. Only tools and demonstration which starts from tomorrow. We will start. Hope it will be fine. Good enough to start like this. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, sir. Thanks a lot.
Any other things? If you would like to ask, you can ask. I'm staying here for another minute. If anything is there. Otherwise, you can carry on. We'll meet you on tomorrow.
Definitely, we'll meet a little bit early in the morning tomorrow before the session starts, so that we can clear all our.
Any doubts are there? Please do note down, write down, and come back. I'll come 15 minutes early so that you can ask me, and then we can go for the next day sessions.
So the answer for the question that you asked, sir. The platform that you're using for today's presentation, the platform that you're using for today's presentation was the question asked by you. We don't know the answer.
I will answer now. I will show you the step also. That's good. Very good. Somebody is observing and curiously asking to know that at all. Without PowerPoint, without anything, I just use it. So what I made was I used a Google Slides and make it as a publicly available, published it, and then I used it through a Google Chrome. One click button. I have to do that. Definitely, I'll show you tomorrow how to do this.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Welcome Dr. Bombayilam to deliver the vote of thanks for today's session.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. Sir, I don't know whether Chief Guest can understand my Tamil, but திடீர்னு இப்போ அப்துல் சார் ஒரு 5 minutes முன்னால ஃபோன் பண்ணி நான் ஃபோன் கூட அட்டன் பண்ண மாட்டேன்னு சொன்ன கிளாஸ் இது கட் ஆயிரும்னு சொல்லிட்டு, பட் அவர் வந்து கண்டிப்பா வாட் ஆஃப் தேங்க்ஸ் ப்ரப்போஸ் பண்ணி ஆகணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லிட்டாரு. ஸோ கைண்ட்லி பேர் வித் மீ. நான் தமிழ்ல தான் என்னால சொல்ல முடியும். ஸோ இவ்வளோ ஒரு அருமையான ப்ரோக்ராம் எங்களை எல்லாம் அப்டேட் பண்ணியே ஆகணும் அப்படிங்கிற ஒரு மோட்டிவேஷனோட.
Google Translator, madam, don't worry.
ஓ தேங்க்யூ சார், தேங்க்யூ சார். ஸோ இப்படி எங்களை வந்து அப்டேட் பண்ணியே ஆகணும் அப்படின்னு சொல்லி எங்களை இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு அழகான ஒரு ப்ரோக்ராம் வினய் சார் ஃப்ரம் பெங்களூர் கிரைஸ்ட் யூனிவர்சிட்டியில இருந்து நமக்கு ரிசோர்ஸ் பர்சன் அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. உண்மையிலேயே வெரி வெரி ரிசோர்ஸ்ஃபுல் பர்சனா, ஒரு சூட்டபிள் பர்சனா இந்த ஒரு அருமையான இதுக்காக நம்மள அந்த 3 days ஒர்க் ஷாப்புக்கு அவரை கெஸ்டா நம்மளுக்கு ஃபிக்ஸ் பண்ணி கொடுத்ததுக்கு கண்டிப்பா நம்மளுடைய பிரின்சிபல் சார் அவர்களுக்கு வந்து தேங்க் பண்ணியே ஆகணும். அப்துல் சாருக்கும் பிரின்சிபல் சாருக்கும். ஸோ எங்களுடைய சீஃப் கெஸ்ட் அவர்களுக்கு என்னுடைய மனமார்ந்த நன்றிகளை தெரிவிச்சுக்கிறேன். ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பால்லயே அவர் வந்து நான் ஒரு மாதிரி ஏனோ தானே உட்காந்துருக்கும் போது அந்த கேப்ஷன்ஸ் எல்லாம் டேர்ன் ஆன் பண்ண சொன்னதும் அழகா அந்த பின்னாலேயே அவர் பேசுறது கீழே கேப்ஷன்ஸ் வந்துச்சு. ஸோ உடனே டக்குன்னு இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் ஆகி அப்படியே உட்கார ஆரம்பிச்சாச்சு. ஸோ உண்மையிலேயே ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்கா இருந்தது. இந்த கூகுள் இதுக்குள்ள போய் ஷெட்யூலிங் பண்றது, எப்படி வந்து அட்மிட் பண்றது கூட எல்லாத்துக்கும் மெயில் ஐடி கொடுத்துட்டா எப்படி அந்த ஸ்டூடெண்ட்ஸ் இது பண்ணி வச்சுக்கலாம், அட்டெண்டன்ஸ் எடுத்துக்கிறது, அட்மிட் பண்றது, மற்றவங்களை வர விடாம இது பண்றது, எல்லாமே நல்ல எல்லா ஃபெசிலிட்டிஸும் சொன்னாரு. அது மட்டும் இல்லாம ஜி சூட்ல இருக்கிறது இல்லாம சிஸ்கோ பத்தி, ஜியோ மீட், மைக்ரோசாஃப்ட் டீம் ஆப், ஜூம், இந்த மாதிரி எல்லாத்தோட இதை பத்தியுமே நம்மளுக்கு வந்து சொல்லி கொடுத்துருக்காரு. ஸோ உண்மையிலேயே இன்னைக்கு கிளாஸ் வந்து ரொம்ப ரொம்ப இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங்காகவும் நல்லா நிறைய விஷயங்கள் புதுசாக தெரிஞ்சுக்கிற மாதிரி இருந்தது. நம்மளுடைய சீஃப் கெஸ்ட் இன்ட்ரோடக்ஷனை ரொம்ப அழகா சொன்ன என்னுடைய சகோதரர் யுவராஜ் சார் அவர்களுக்கும், இந்த அருமையான ப்ரோக்ராமை ஏற்படுத்தி கொடுத்த அப்துல் சார், கோஆர்டினேட் பண்ண பிரசாத் சார், மற்றும் இன்னைக்கு வெளியில இருந்து இணைஞ்சிருக்கக்கூடிய அத்தனை நண்பர்கள் மற்றும் எங்களுடைய கல்லூரியிலிருந்து இணைஞ்சிருக்கக்கூடிய பேராசிரியர் பெருமக்கள் நண்பர்கள் அனைவருக்கும் என்னுடைய நன்றியை தெரிவித்துக் கொள்கிறேன். நன்றி.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you very much. Thank you, Vinay sir.
Thank you, sir.
We will meet you tomorrow morning 8:15.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sure.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day ahead. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Thank you.
Recording cut பண்ணிருங்க.